The theory of everything. From the Big Bang to geopolitics. In academia, scientists are seeking a unified theory of everything, while only including the axioms agreed and published in the scientific community that is controlled by currency, that is controlled by politicians. Science recognised the Big Bang as the expansion of the universe from a singularity billions of years ago to the universe now. This process has taken time, and therefore time itself can be regarded as expansion. The mathematics of this expansion must be three-dimensional, and this cannot be expressed in conventional arithmetic or mathematics. Entropy, the second law of thermodynamics, says that everything is morphing to chaos, meaning that everything is cooling. Absolute zero temperature is when everything is still and there is no entropy. Entropy cannot be measured, as the act of measuring requires movement, same as Schrödinger's cat, same as measuring corrosion, same as politics, same as religion. Cause and effect does not apply because entropy is spontaneous. In zygomorphing, time is expansion and is cause of change. So entropy is not spontaneous, not caused by time. Politicians are corrupted by bribes from people who promote the passing of laws that favour the military-industrial complex, extreme violence and destruction. Science believes in entropy, that is spontaneous change of state where there is no cause. Without time, there cannot be change. Without change, there cannot be life. It is said that time is money, but money is an illusion that is enforced as currency. Capitalism, communism, socialism, anarchy, fascism, democracy, feudalism, theocracy, tribalism, and others are all systems of population control reliant on faith in currency that people think of as money. Zygomorphism is an alternative structure of society that might be described as reality-based individualism. The scientific method of addressing a problem is to gather data and evidence in the form of observations and repeatable experimental demonstrations. Entropy. Science is a study of the rules of nature through observations, data gathering, with instruments and repeated experimentation. Human opinions are not evidence-based. They are subjective and based on personal observations and experience. Scientists codify the laws of nature, and engineers use this information to manipulate nature for the benefit of the community. Engineers increase order and decrease entropy, which is disorder. The laws of nature rules and not laws created by humans. However, there is now a new form of money that has evolved because of the failure of all existing monetary systems and the attack on humanity by the invisible alien we call COVID-19. This picture shows how the control of money has changed. The new form of money exists because of the thinking power of all the users of the internet. This is achieved electronically on computers that are really just adding machines. Back to entropy. Politics is the manipulation of people. It is the art of lying convincingly. Lying is disruptive of the perception of reality and increases order by control. Control achieved by propaganda, advertising and brainwashing changes the state of chaos to conformity and decreases entropy. The calculations cannot be computerized unless we understand that a computer is an electronic device that can only be programmed in logical paths through gates that determine true or false. Multinational corporations have taken over the governance of the world using a structure called capitalism, and they are effectively organizing millions of people to provide goods and services demanded to make the majority of the population more secure, safer and more comfortable than past populations. Particle physicists do not consider biology, religions, emotions or geopolitics as parts of the unified model, but these are all part of the universe itself. For example, entanglement is related to empathy, because we are all expanding from the same source. Human thoughts are electrochemical reactions that take time and are subject to the model of Stephen Hawking's cones of events. Brian Cox's everything is expanding and gives free energy. What is time? According to Stephen Hawking, time is the passage from one cone of events to the next. This is proved to be correct by the fact that the universe, everything, is expanding from within itself. The start of the Big Bang is within every point of the universe, including you. Professor Brian Cox has said this. This is difficult to visualise until you understand perspective. This picture, which I drew as a mural, shows the distortions that perspective present our brains with. Perspective is a view of space from an individual point in space. This is not 360 degrees, but is the view from the centre of a ball in 3D. The passage of time must be the expansion of the skin of the ball on which events happen. We scientists examine and test all hypotheses using computers, provided that we think like computers and do not try to make computers think like humans. Existence is being created on the skin of a ball and instantly becomes the past that cannot be altered because it depends on the state of everything around it. This was realised by Omar Khayyam when he wrote, "The moving finger writes, and having moved, writ moves on, nor all thy piety nor wit can change yet a line, nor all thy tears erase a word of it." Once an event has taken place, it cannot be changed because we exist in the future of that event. If we were to go back and alter that event, we would not exist. As a corrosion engineer, I understand the technical limitations when using computers as tools in the study of the corrosion reaction. We exist because of the events that brought us into existence. The future might be visualized or imagined, but can never be calculated because that would involve knowing all of the events that have ever happened since before time itself came into existence. As in all scientific studies, we must start by establishing axioms from the Big Bang until now. We use the model of time being expansion and humans being electrochemical organisms that have evolved into our present condition. The best we can do is to understand our own individual timelines from the moment of our own individual sentience. We can only achieve this through binary logic, which reduces everything to true or false. People will learn to believe that their timeline equals value, equals money, and that nobody rules time itself. Can the Earth think? And is the cosmos a living being? Have both been postulated by respected scientists and supported by the results that I have personally recorded during surveys over cross-country pipelines. At quantum level, the Higgs boson field thought expands into an elemental particle with mass that contains the quality of that thought or idea. An idea is communicated as a picture that is delivered as a sound that is written in code on a two-dimensional surface, so that the idea, the word, is preserved and can be learnt by other sentient electrochemical organisms with thinking ability. Words and pictures are used to induce complex hormonal disturbance in groups who are exposed to their own environment and ideas that are introduced. Entanglement is therefore considered to be part of this order in the system and stabilizes entropy by reducing the tendency to chaos. Zygomorphism is the belief that each human is a unique electrochemical organism that is part of the universal system, and therefore stability is comfort and safety is the removal of threats or change. Entanglement in humans is the continued expansion, time, idea, Higgs boson in every part of everything. We must gather data in the form of binary numbers and observations that can be compared digitally. We can then create algorithms that can calculate and display results that can be understood by a child. Entanglement, entropy, change, expansion, time. Politics is the manipulation of masses of people by communicating ideas. False ideas are disruptive of the perception of reality and increase order through the control of the citizenry. Control is achieved by propaganda, advertising and brainwashing. It changes the state of chaos into a state of conformity, and this decreases entropy that results in increased human entanglement. Entanglement is a status that cannot be measured but can be compared with other states of entanglement and expressed as empathy. A person's empathy is relative to another person's empathy or ability to sympathise with the views of others. Entanglement can only be measured when it changes and can only change with time. Like energy, entanglement will fill any void of entanglement because of empathy. Like magnetism, empathy attracts entanglement. The software developed in the Cathodic Protection Network Dynamic project uses the computer to calculate possible outcomes of detected conditions based on historical data and dynamic input. This requires the use of established probes, such as the so-called half-cell together with pH probes, isopotential cells, and most importantly, the Alexander cell, without which computerization is impossible. Any entanglement will cause hormonal order and reduce discomfort. This increases entropy. Safety is a feeling of comfort, stability that relaxes every electrochemical organism by achieving equilibrium without the flow of energy. Zygomorphism observes that each electrochemical organism behaves like an elemental particle and resists external control when in a state of chaos. Entanglement. Science is the study of the rules of nature through observation, data gathering with instruments and repeated experimentation. But entanglement has not been studied in this way. Human emotions are not evidence-based. They are subjective and based on personal observation and experience. However, we can write algorithms that trigger actions when corrosion has stopped by using the Alexander cell. Corrosion is an electrochemical reaction that discharges electricity into a circuit. A simple example is a dry cell battery in a torch. The study of corrosion, decomposition and energy transfer provides a scientific bridge between biology and technology. Corrosion science commands humanity that relies on energy to actuate the structures that accommodate the communities that have evolved. It is significant that in Linux coding we command the computer to carry out tasks. In real life, we cannot command particles or the universe to do anything. We must observe apparent chaos and detect patterns, develop hypotheses, text into practical theories that we can engineer into control. Entanglement results from time being expansion from every point of the universe, including you. Humans with empathy acquire comfort and security through entanglement. Entropy is a change of state, and thermodynamics is about heat, that is movement of particles. Entanglement is hormonal equilibrium achieved by communication and empathy.